Hey y'all! Beating Pokemon Crystal using only one Meryl was a barrel of fun, and this week, I'm ready to rock! I'm gonna try to beat Pokemon Crystal using only one LARVITAR! As usual, the rules are I can only use LARVITAR in battle, and I can't use any trainer items in battle. By the way, if you like this kind of content and want more, be sure to subscribe and check out more of the videos on my channel. LARVITAR is a rock and ground type, famous from the anime for briefly being one of Ash's Pokemon during the Johto League anime. Hatched from an egg that he received from Professor Elm, LARVITAR was incredibly shy and timid, only opening up to Ash for most of its time spent in the limelight. This shyness is ironic when you consider that LARVITAR evolves into a big heckin' dinosaur known for being aggressive and territorial. I always picture rock types as confident and aggressive, but LARVITAR being really shy makes me wish he was just a little bolder. Yeah? As a child, I remember finding one on Mount Silver at the end of the game and training it up just to take on Red's team, so I'll be interested to see how it fares throughout a full playthrough this time. As for the stats and moves, it's honestly not bad. The base stats all average around 50, which is decent for a solo challenge run, but the move pool is where I think LARVITAR will shine. Rock Slide, Earthquake, and Crunch, oh my! I'm really excited to see how this tiny dino will fare, so let's jump Meteor right into it! Off at Professor Elm's lab, I used the Universal Pokemon Randomizer to replace Totodile with LARVITAR, so that our rival will pick the Grass-type Chikorita. Oh god, LARVITAR is a ground and rock-type Pokemon that is double weak to grass moves, so as usual, Razor Leaf is going to be a huge problem. LARVITAR is a tiny dino known for being sheepish and timid, so I nickname ours Shyranosaurus. LARVITAR starts off with just Bite and Leer. Luckily for us, Bite is a dark-type move in this game, unlike in Pokemon Red, so it will be great for the ghost types later on. It's also nice that Bite is unaffected by Bubs' Chikorita, lowering our attack stat with Growl. Pretty uneventful thus far, but things get dicey real soon. And I guess what I'm really trying to say is that while this battle failed to meet our expectations, don't get Karna bored just yet. After beating Bubs, I head to the Violet City Gym to take on the leader Falconer and his Flying Freaks. I originally reached Falconer at level 9 but was too weak to win, and grinding in Bellsprout Tower was not an option either because we're double weak to the Bellsprout's Vine Whip. So I had to beat up bugs in the grass outside of Violet City until LARVITAR was able to take down Falconer's Pidgey without taking multiple mud slaps. And after that, the battle is a matter of misses. I used the passive damage of Sandstorm to help whittle down the Pidgeotto while we pray for Bite to land. Or as I like to call it, once bitten, twice shy. It's also super cool that we get to feature a hazard move like Sandstorm, which we normally never even see. Now in Azalea Town, I'm ready to take on Bugsy the Bug-type gym leader for the Hive Badge. Despite resisting Scyther's Fury Cutter, LARVITAR still has a hard time with this battle. Because Bite isn't same type attack boosted, it doesn't do as much damage as I'd like, and we're often just shy of a 2 or 3 hit KO. However, Sandstorm dealing chip damage every turn really helps with this, turning 4 hit KOs into 3 hit KOs, and 3 hit KOs into 2 hit KOs. I had to reset a handful of times, but all it took to win was for Scyther to miss a single Fury Cutter. It's not exactly a luxurious strategy, but then again, there's not much else I can do. So don't you sass me, and I don't want to hear none of that Brachio talk. Now that we've snubbed Bugsy's grubs, it's time to get the dub against Bubs. Man, I really do love saying that. Unlike the first battle where no grass moves were involved, this time his Bayleaf knows Razor Leaf, which knocks out LARVITAR in a single hit, even without the critical hit. So, at level 18, yeah, this is just not gonna work. 4 levels later though, and we've learned the move Rock Slide. It's the strongest rock move in the game, plus it has a 30% chance to flinch. The only downside to this move is that it is only 90% accurate. Since we're faster than the Bayleaf, all we need to do is flinch with one Rock Slide, and then we can pick it off with the weaker but 100% accurate Bite. After that, the Zubat gets crushed by boulders, and we can move past what would have otherwise been a really grueling battle. So for now, there's no claws for concern. Next up is the Goldenrod City Gym in the battle with Whitney's Miltank. Along the way, LARVITAR learned the move Screech, which lowers the opponent's defense by 2 stages. This means with a single Screech, our physical moves do twice as much damage. And after Screeching Miltank, Rock Slide does over half of this heifer's health, so we can take it down even if it resorts to healing with Milk Drink. This was a surprisingly easy battle. Looks like Miltank should have been the one afraid for a change. Or should I say, cower in fear. Alright, now that we've beaten the cattle, it's time to skedaddle. I reached the rival Bubs in the Burnt Tower in Ecritique City. We're a little bit stronger now, but so is his team, and it makes me want to shout. His Haunter always leads off with Curse, and while that makes it easier to knock out, it also damages a quarter of our max health each turn, which is really bad. Do you know what's worse, though? Razor Leaf. Come on, Bubs. Meek me in the middle. Okay, so I keep trying this battle until a timely Rock Slide flinch allows us to get past the Bayleaf. The only problem is that Curse damage is racking up, but thankfully, we 1-hit KO the Zubat, and you don't take Curse damage the turn you knock out a Pokemon. How fortunate, too, that Rock Slide is a 2-hit KO on the Magnemite. Otherwise, either Curse damage or another Sonic Boom would spell the end of this tiny dino. Come on, Larvitar! How are you going to take down the Pokemon League when you're struggling this much against a Magnet and a Bat? Psh, you're bashful of it. Next up is a Spectral Showdown with the Ecritique City Gym Leader Morty and his gang of ghoulish ghosts. I know ghosts are scary, Larvitar, but there's no need to be such a chicken, or as I like to call it, apprehensive. Morty's ghosts are all weak to Dark-type moves, but despite having Bite, victory is out of sight. Larvitar underspeeds everything but the Ghastly, so we're susceptible to being put to sleep and berated by any combination of Nightshade or Dream Eater. I lose this one a couple times thanks to the unforgiving sleep mechanics of this very well designed game. There is good news, however. Hypnosis is only 60% accurate, so it does miss quite a lot. So, nice try, Morty, but that trick ain't gonna work. I know Larvitar is a bit sheepish, but you're not gonna keep pulling the wool over my eyes. And honestly, if Morty can't put us to sleep, he really can't do much to Larvitar. Nightshade does hurt, but his ghosts are physically frail, and Rock Slide hits them so very hard. We even managed to outspeed his last Haunter, so that's pretty nifty stuff there, Larvitar. And I gotta say, outside of some very tough battles involving water and grass moves that we very much expected, pretty impressed. Now with the ability to surf outside of battle, I set sail from Olivine City and head to the Cianwood City Gym to take on the fighting-type gym leader, Chuck. Take what I said about 30 seconds ago about being impressed and throw it out the window, because I can't even get to Chuck. The first two trainers in the gym force you to battle them back to back without the chance to heal between battles. And the Hitmonlee in the first battle does so much damage that despite the Hitmonchan fighting with much weaker special moves like Fire and Ice Punch, we don't have enough health to hold on. This one is an absolute no-go. So it's time to move on for now. But hey, at least I gave it the old college Triassic. To get some more levels, I dispatched the Lake of Rage Team Rocket hideout portion of the game and then head to take on Price, the Ice-type gym leader in Mahogany Town. Larvitar was a little nervous about sliding around on the ice, so I guess he was feeling skid-ish? This battle was pretty wacky though. His level 27 Seal barely survives a Rock Slide, but it flinches so we knock it out. Okay, that's pretty cool. And Piloswine also flinches to Rock Slide, but then we both miss our attacks, only for Price to heal, only for us to flinch, again. Blizzard finally connects to almost 1-hit KO Larvitar, but we knock it out, and now here comes the weird part. Price sends out his level 29 Dugong, and we 1-hit KO it with Rock Slide. Hold on. Seal has 65 base HP with 55 base defense, while Dugong has 90 base HP and 80 base defense. So how on earth did a Seal 2 levels lower survive a Rock Slide while his Dugong did not? I can only guess that we got the lowest damage roll possible with Seal. And then, since we leveled up before the Dugong, Rock Slide was boosted by the additional attack stat points, plus the level ends in 5 damage boost, plus a much higher damage roll. I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments because honestly, I'm at a complete loss. Next up is the Steel-type gym leader Jasmine. Considering the fact that Larvitar is weak to Steel and the fact that Steelix is a defensive tank, you might be surprised to hear that this battle was pretty easy. Jasmine's Magnemites are double weak to ground, so they go down in a single dig. The Steelix can 1-hit KO us with Iron Tail, but that move is only 70% accurate, so it misses fairly often. and with a single screech, Dig will do over half to Steelix despite its gargantuan defense stat. And a couple of tries in, we managed to get a critical hit for good measure. Well, that sure made this battle easy, which is not normally the case against Jasmine. It's not very often I get to say I'm having a skeleton of fun here. Okay, well now I have to beat Chuck to progress, which means I'm back to the beginning of his gym. This time, with the combination of additional levels and the defense boost provided by Jasmine's mineral badge, LARVITAR takes much less damage from Hitmonlee. We 2-hit KO both the Hitmonlee and the Hitmonchan, so this wasn't so bad the second time around. Chuck, on the other hand, well, you'll see. Now it's time to step into the ring with Chuck, and normally before a boxing match, we'd get ready to rumble, but LARVITAR has social anxiety, so instead, let's get ready to mumble! Chuck may only have 2 Pokemon, but they are a terrible matchup for LARVITAR to face. They both resist Rock and Dark, and both have super effective moves against our tiny Dino. Primeape's Karate Chop does a lot, but Poliwrath's Surf does even more and is a 1-hit KO. Even with a ton of Rock Slide flinches in the attempt that I'm showing you, we never even came close to winning. After grinding to level 40, I keep trying this battle and I'm getting closer and closer to winning, but we still need a lot of luck if we're going to take down the Poliwrath. After dozens of resets, I managed to not only double flinch the Poliwrath, but we also get a critical hit to knock it out in 1 less hit than usual. And the odds of hitting 3 consecutive Rock Slides, flinching with 2 of them, and 1 of them being a critical hit is only 0.4%. So, we had to get pretty lucky to win at this level, yeah? Okay. Well, some of you might want me to do this battle with a less luck-reliant strategy, but I'd rather Archie opt out. Moving on! With 7 gym badges in hand, we now have to take on the rival Bubs in the basement underground during the Team Rocket Radio Tower anime arc. So that's 2 consecutive major battles where we have to contend with double super effective moves that decimate our health. LARVITAR does survive Meganium's Razor Leaf, but since we don't 2-hit KO, it doesn't really matter. Unless we get a flinch. Aw, shucks. Okay, so I tried this one a few more times at the same level, and on one of the attempts, we not only get a flinch, but also a pretty high damage roll on the second Rock Slide to knock out the Meganium in 2 hits instead of 3. And for those that don't know, when I say damage roll, I'm talking about how the Pokemon games don't deal fixed damage, but rather a range for each attack. After the Meganium goes down, I figure I've got this battle in the bag when suddenly my game glitches out and I can't read which moves are which. Oh crap, the Matrix is after me. Well, thank goodness I've memorized which moves are which, so I can still carry on the battle. Let that be a lesson to all you out there that you don't need to read to succeed. Well, it's a long commute to Blackthorn City, so time to stop at LARVITAR on the way and grab ourselves a Shy Latte. And yes, that's with fake milk, because I am a coy boy. Having slid through Ice Path and making it to Blackthorn City, it's now time for the final Johto Gym Leader, Claire the Dragon-type trainer. This is the 3rd battle in a row where we have to contend with a double super effective move in Kingdra's Surf. Luckily for me, at level 50, LARVITAR learned Earthquake, which is the strongest ground move in the game. With the soft sand equipped to boost Earthquake's damage by 10%, LARVITAR manages to sweep Claire's entire team. Shh, pay no attention to that critical hit on Kingdra. It's nice to not have to reset for once, and I really appreciate any time a battle is a Guan and Don. With our newfound seismic strength, I'm feeling pretty confident as we get ready to take on the rival Bubs in Victory Road just before the Elite Four, but this one's not so simple. As usual, he has a Meganium, so just assume from now on that anytime we face a Pokemon with either water or grass moves, both of which are double super effective, that we're gonna have a hard time. Meganium manages to survive the combination of Earthquake and Rock Slide to then take us out with Razor Leaf. And Razor Leaf has really been giving our Shyranosaurus a hard time, which is a testament to its wallflower power. I went for Earthquake because I thought it would 2-hit KO and I didn't want to miss with Rock Slide, but that didn't really pan out, so maybe this time we just go for 2 Rock Slides? Yeah, I'm sure that'll work out. It's also so kind of Bubs to go for Poison Powder instead of Razor Leaf to leave us with significantly more health to deal with the rest of his team. And at this point, LARVITAR 1-hit KOs all of his other Pokemon. Which, I guess means that Bubs is a big dumb poo-poo head that doesn't deserve to challenge the Pokemon League. Ipso facto, Nana nana boo boo, stick your head in doo doo. Speaking of the Pokemon League, here are the stats and moves at the Elite Four. Larvitar is feeling pretty confident, and it even gives us a couple of thug shrugs. We're at level 54, which is, hey, not too shabby. A little lower than usual, despite having several common double weaknesses. I guess that really shows the power of Larvitar's moves. Having Rock Slide for the majority of the run has been an absolute boon, and now that we've got Crunch and Earthquake, we're ready to Quake and Bake. Up first is the Psychic-type Elite Four member Will. This battle would be super easy if Larvitar were its Rock and Dark-type Final Form Tyranitar, but for now we'll settle for a Black Glasses boosted Crunch with no same type attack boost or immunity to Psychic moves, because who would want all those things anyways? Hey, the battle still goes pretty well regardless. Rock Slide 1-hit KOs the Xatu, and while Crunch misses the knockout on Exeggutor, it sets up a Reflect and then gets knocked out. Reflect halves the damage of Earthquake and Rock Slide, but not Crunch, so we still have enough firepower to deal with the Jinx and the Slowbro until the Reflect fades. Then our Rock Slide thwaps the final Xatu and we win the battle. And I know Larvitar was worried about the Elite Four before this battle, but the Black Glasses must have helped it feel less squint-timidated. Next up is Koga, the Poison and Bug-type Elite Four member. Normally this ninja nincompoop is a real kick in the keister, but this time he's really no trouble at all. Despite Rock Slide's 90% accuracy and Koga's attempts to raise his team's evasion, Larvitar doesn't miss a single move in this battle. Earthquake even 2-hit KOs the Forretress, which is one of the most physically defensive Pokemon in the game, so that's a delightful little surprise. Man, I tell you what, Rock and Ground is probably the best darn tootin' combination of moves to fight against that damn Koga with. And yeah, you done plumb gone around crazy if you think that ain't right now, I'll tell you what. Next up is the Fighting-type Elite Four member Bruno. Considering how much we struggled not just with Chuck, but even his gym members, I'm a little worried going into this one. With the Soft Sand equipped to boost Earthquake by 10%, we easily shake down Bruno's first 3 Pokemon, but then Machamp comes out and finishes us off with a Cross Chop. Yay. You know, I kind of thought Larvitar would survive that, but maybe I'm expecting an awful lot from a baby dinosaur. After all, it's just a Triceratops. A few tries later and we flinch the Machamp with a Rock Slide, and despite not doing much damage, it's enough for Earthquake to seal the deal. Bruno's Onix hits us with an Earthquake of its own, but we survive and finish off the last of his team with Crunch, or as I like to call it, Crunching the Punchy Bunch. Up next is the Dark-type Elite Four member Karen. She's always super annoying to defeat, what with her evasion and confusion tactics, but this time I'm actually more worried about the Vileplume. Her lead Scumbreon goes down in a single Earthquake after a Screech lowers its defense, but the Vileplume survives an Earthquake and 1-hit KOs us with Petal Dance. Oh well, I guess that plan was ill-fated. Okay, so I switch up the strategy and keep trying. A Rock Slide flinch on Umbreon isn't necessary, but it is nice. However, it is absolutely necessary to flinch the Vileplume. Eventually I get the flinch, and now Larvitar has full health with the 2 most problematic Pokemon down for the count. Karen's last 3 Pokemon all go down in a single hit, and the only attack we even take is a Lick from the Gengar, which is honestly just sad. Why doesn't a Ghost type in the Elite Four know the move Shadow Ball? Lick absolutely paleos in comparison. Now it's time for the champion battle with the last member, Lance the Dragon Master. I make sure to heal up and adjust our PP before heading into the battle. Lance leads off with a Gyarados that knows Hydro Pump, a move that will 100% knock out Larvitar in a single squirt. Luckily for us, Larvitar outspeeds and smashes the Sea Snake with a single Rock Slide. Lance's next Dragonite knows Blizzard, which can hit hard and freeze, but while Rock Slide misses the 1-hit KO, it does get the flinch, so it kind of is a 1-hit KO. Lance's next Dragonite survives, doesn't get flinched, but goes for a weak Twister? Silly Lance, now is not the time for party games. Lance's strongest Dragonite also gets flinched by Rock Slide, but no amount of potions is going to help you now, homeboy. Charizard crits a Flamethrower but goes down in a single Rock Slide, and then Aerodactyl hits us with a super weak Ancient Power. Larvitar takes very little damage from rock moves, so there's nothing to fear. No need to be flintroverted. And with Lance defeated, we have finally conquered the Pokemon League, but you know the run isn't over yet. I'm always going to consider beating the final Trainer Red as the final boss of the run, unless of course a Pokemon is just impossibly bad. I set sail upon the SS Aqua to head over to Kanto to take on their 8 gym leaders to acquire all 16 badges to earn the right to challenge Red atop Mount Silver. And I got through most of the Kanto gym leaders without much trouble, and even Erica and Misty were not that difficult. So with the first 7 Kanto gym leaders out of the way, it's time to take on the final Kanto gym leader, Blue. His Pokemon are really strong, and with our current moveset, well, take a guess. It's just not possible. Alakazam does way too much damage with Psychic, and it's even worse if it goes for Reflect to have the damage of a Rock Slide and Earthquake. If Larvitar is Barney the Dinosaur, then Blue just baby bopped us. I level up to 73 and try this again. I also discovered that Larvitar's hidden power is Ghost, which has basically the same coverage as Crunch, but is slightly better because it is a physical move and we have significantly higher attack than special attack. It's not crucial, but it's nice. With the extra levels, Earthquake is finally able to one-hit KO the Rhydon as long as Blue doesn't set up Reflect with Alakazam first. I make sure to use Protect to stall for extra leftovers recovery, but not that it matters because we just miss a Rock Slide and get one-hit KO'd by Hydro Pump. The Rock Slide giveth, and the Rock Slide taketh away. A few attempts later, and we land the Rock Slide to knock out the Gyarados and then one-hit KO the Arcanine with Earthquake. By the way, the move Curse doesn't help us here because it lowers our speed, giving the Gyarados a chance to Hydro Pump us before we move. And I'm just glad that this time around, Larvitar didn't let his fear of Hydro Pump blur his vision, or as I like to call it, scaredy cataracts. With all 16 badges in hand, it's time to take on the final Trainer Red atop Mount Silver. And despite Larvitar seemingly stealing some victories from several difficult battles throughout this run, this battle ain't one of them. First of all, if Pikachu lands a Charm, our attack gets halved and the battle's immediately over. So most of the time, I have to reset after the first turn. Plus, even if I get to the Espeon, I've got to somehow stall 5 turns of Reflect while surviving multiple Psychics that do over half of our health. And remember, Curse might help us get past the Espeon quicker, but as soon as we click Curse once, we underspeed the Blastoise and we literally cannot win. Uh-oh, Larvitar. You don't look so good. In fact, you're looking a little Jurassically. Even 5 levels later at level 78, it's the same old song and dance. We're not doing nearly as much extra damage as I was hoping, and we're certainly not taking those Psychics any better than before. This just isn't happening even at this level. Red continues to paint our back porch red, turning our tiny dino into a Spankliosaurus. At level 85, I'm finally starting to make some headway. I also realized that technically a non-resistant Earthquake is still stronger than a super effective hidden power Ghost, so I just go for that. It's now a 2-hit KO against the Espeon through Reflect, and I'm consistently able to get past the Espeon, but the Venusaur is a lot trickier. I have to play around the fact that Venusaur can always go for a Giga Drain to just one-hit KO us, but a Solar Beam we can dodge with Protect. So as long as I predict his move choice correctly, we are Guccisaurus. The Blastoise is where things get tricky. Right away, I have to flinch with at least one Rock Slide. So if I don't get that, then we lose to Surf. And after that, Earthquake is a damage roll to pick up the KO. And I had to try this part so many times, and multiple times when I got the flinch, Earthquake just barely missed the KO and we lost anyways. Last up are the Snorlax and the Charizard, and despite being paralyzed by Snorlax's Body Slam, Earthquake is a 2-hit KO, so all that stands between us and victory is landing a Rock Slide on Charizard and not getting fully paralyzed. Thankfully, Flamethrower is resisted, and we land the Rock Slide to win the battle. Huzzah! And Red doubted the power of our tiny dino. Glad to knock that guy down a few stegs. And with that, the challenge is over. Larvitar might be a bit of a spineless Saurus, but I do think it deserves a bit more street creditacious. Considering how popular Tyranitar is, Larvitar by comparison has some pretty big shoes to fill. That's going to be hard though, since he's more of a Littlefoot. As always, I want to thank you for making it to the end of this video. These videos are a lot of fun, but also a lot of work, so I really do appreciate it. There's a playlist on my channel where you can find the rest of my Pokemon Challenge videos if you want to check those out as well. And if you like this kind of content and want to see more, be sure to subscribe and enable notifications so you'll know right away the next time one of these episodes is uploaded. And if you want early access to these videos and to have your name listed in the credits, consider becoming a member or joining on Patreon. And if you have a Pokemon you want to see, let me know in the comments and I'll probably do it. Next week, I'll be trying to beat Pokemon Red using only one Ammonite. Alright, time to raptor things up. So until next time, bye!